City of South Fulton's October 27th council meeting, Mayor Bill Edwards introduced ordinances regulating restaurants with dancing that would burden restaurateurs and lounge owners with several new security expenses, even as they deal with reduced capacity due to the COVID-19 pandemic and reduced revenues. After meeting with restaurant and club owners across the city, Old National Councilman Khalid called on City Council to hold off on the ordinance until they could sit down with the mayor to come up with compromises that met safety goals without unfairly burdening these Black business owners. First, as a member of the community who's also a councilman, who also goes to all of these clubs, part of being Black on purpose is supporting our businesses, even when they have some challenges operating the way that we need them to operate. We have to get outside of the box in our thinking. With respect to some of my older residents who don't maybe like restaurant lounges, like restaurants that become lounges in the evening, it is the wave of the future. I hear you, Mr. Mayor, that for a long time, things were either a club or a restaurant. One of the things that we've seen in zoning, right, is that something is either residential or commercial. But the trend in zoning now is live, work, play communities where residential and commercial are actually together. And there is a trend in restaurateuring around the country of restaurants that are lounges or that after 9 have this different, they have a different vibe. And there are lots of traditional restaurants, from the Hut that's closed 300 stores, Starbucks that's closed 400 stores, Ruby Tuesdays that's gone out of business. There are dozens of restaurants that are going out of business because that traditional model, for whatever reason, the delivery thing that you can do on your app now or Uber Eats, but for whatever reason, the model is changing. And I think that we've got to be progressive and change with it. Old National has been an entertainment district for decades. This ordinance puts the onus on these Black-owned businesses. And since emancipation, owning restaurants and lounges are some of the first businesses that we've had. And I just want to make sure that we're being equitable in how we hold people accountable, because people are getting jacked and shot at gas stations that are not owned by Black people, and I'm not sure we're holding them accountable. We talked about these parking lots, but the land that these clubs are sitting on, they're not owned by Black people, and we're not holding the landowners accountable. There are dozens of traditional restaurants that are going out of business, but in the middle of a COVID pandemic-induced recession, we have Black restaurateurs who are opening up businesses and hiring people in the middle of a recession, putting $500,000 in clubs and things. So I think that we owe it to them to try and make this work.
Mr. Mayor and council members, we have received a total of 37 comments. Cy Collins, Harold's Chicken and Ice Bar. The new proposed city ordinance will affect our business tremendously. If the ordinance is passed, we will have to lay off half of our employees. Please consider having a meeting with all the business owners before voting. Mrs. Siobhan Hammond, who resides on Old National Highway, District 5, Raven Papellion, Shantavia Pfizer, Diamond Eppinger, Mr. Robert McComb, Mr. J.C. Gray, Miranda Pollard, Grover, Angelina Tavares, Naelia Rogers, Mr. Jordan Cruz, Mrs. Tahira Summerfield. I'm a bartender at Harold's. I am a server on Old National. I am a bartender, waitress. If that big change is made, I won't be able to pay my bills nor take care of my grandmother, who suffers from a lot of health problems. I have 3 kids and a wife that solely depend on me. I live in Atlanta on my own with no family, and I'm the only support I have down here. Of 3. I have 3 grandchildren. The bar is a way for me to feed my family. This is my only job. I rely on the income to pay my bills as I work towards my degree. A lot of us don't have the tools, education, or skills to get another job. There are no jobs hiring in the community or even outside of the community. There is no unemployment benefits available, and if so, we are the only industry that isn't taken care of on this all fronts. This will affect our lives in the worst way. We need our business to survive. Please don't impact our business and force us into poverty. It's deeper than the money. We are at home. I believe this is more of a personal issue than from a business standpoint that is helping bring income and people into the city of South Fulton. I would like for the business owners to meet with Mayor Edwards. Would like to have a meeting with the mayor before this issue is voted on. I would like for the mayor and council to consider a conversation with the businesses, bars and restaurants that this ordinance will affect. On this new ordinance, I feel we should postpone it and have a meeting with all business owners so we can all come up with the right direction because we're all in this together. Thank you for your time, and please consider every one of us in the positions that will be eliminated. That completes public comment for today.
I would ask for us to hold this. We just said earlier that we were going to work with Jacques and Mr. Crow at South Beach. I think that we need to work with all of the restaurants. I patronize these establishments, and no one talked to a lot of them about this ordinance. No one talked to the Old National Merchants Association about this ordinance. Just like nobody talked to them when we changed liquor sales from 3 a.m. to 2 a.m. Somebody just came in and said, y'all can't do that anymore. And so, I mean, if Bodega and BVS, for example, they're like 8,000 square feet. If they require 2 officers, which is what the ordinance says, why would we make Harold's or the smoking room, which is less than half that size, have the same amount of officers? Like, let's do it by square feet so that it makes sense. Can we push the officers back from starting at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.? And if we're going to make restaurants buy whole new security camera systems, maybe can we go back to letting them sell liquor to 4 a.m. so they can pay for all of these new things that we're asking them to do in this COVID environment when they already have reduced capacity? Those are just a few of the possible solutions that we could make just to make this more equitable. And who knows what we could come up with if we just sat down with these business owners and talked to them. So I am going to make a substitute motion that we hold this until we can meet with the restaurant owners and the Old National Merchants Association, Butner Road Association, to discuss how we can develop ordinances that meet our safety goals without putting burden for these Black business owners.
Was there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been properly moved and second. Discussion.
I just wanted to ask if Ms. Reed or CDRA is on the line. We have had a lot of conversation just now about restaurants versus clubs versus bars versus lounges. And I was just wondering, are those things defined anywhere? And if not, how would you suggest handling how we are defining these places?
So your code, I'm sorry, Mary.
Go ahead.
Okay. The code identifies the definition, of course, of restaurants as well as nightclubs, but it does not have that middle piece that identifies the difference between the two, or the merged version as we're speaking of. So it's something as simple as identifying how we can make it work. I don't think it's a challenge.
Okay, Mr. Khalid.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. We have a motion on the floor. Mr. Clerk, carry the motion.
Sir. There's a motion on the floor to hold this item. It was motioned by Councilmember Khalid and seconded by Councilmember Baker. This is a roll call vote. Councilmember Rao. Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Councilmember Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
And Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
Okay, very good.
That was an aye for me.
Yeah.
Received. Thank you.